Every baby does it. Out of everyone in the room, they reach for one person. They cry when that one person leaves. They calm down the moment that one person holds them. And it does not matter how many people love them, how many people feed them, how many people try. The baby has already chosen, and most people think it is random. Most people think it is just about who spends the most time with them. But that is not the full story, not even close. Because what is actually happening inside a baby's brain when they attach to one person is one of the most powerful psychological processes ever discovered. And once you understand it, you will never look at a baby the same way again. Let us start with what most people believe. The common explanation is simple. Babies get attached to whoever feeds them, whoever changes them, whoever is around the most. It sounds logical. It sounds obvious. And for decades, even scientists believed this. They called it the cupboard theory. The idea was that a baby is basically a tiny survival machine. It attaches to whoever provides food and warmth. Nothing more, nothing deeper. But then something happened that changed everything. In the 1950s, a psychologist named Harry Harlow ran one of the most famous experiments in the history of psychology. He took baby monkeys and gave them two fake mothers. One was made of wire but had a bottle of milk attached. The other was made of soft cloth but had no food at all. If the cupboard theory was correct, the baby should have attached to the wire mother. She had the food. She had the survival resource. But that is not what happened. The baby monkeys clung to the cloth mother. They spent almost all their time holding on to her. They only went to the wire mother when they were desperately hungry and then immediately ran back to the soft one. When something scared them, they ran to the cloth mother. When they were placed in a new room, they held on to the cloth mother. Food did not matter. Warmth did not matter the way everyone assumed. What mattered was comfort. What mattered was the feeling of safety. And this changed our entire understanding of attachment. But here is where it gets even more interesting. Around the same time, a British psychiatrist named John Bowlby began developing what he called attachment theory. He proposed that babies are not just looking for food or warmth. They are looking for one specific thing, a secure base, a person who makes them feel safe enough to explore the world. And the baby does not choose this person randomly. The baby is constantly running a silent test, every single day, from the moment they are born. Here is how the test works. A baby cries. Someone responds. The baby notices how fast that response came. The baby notices the tone of voice. The baby notices whether they were picked up, gently or roughly. The baby notices whether the person seemed calm or stressed. And every single one of these micro moments gets recorded. Not consciously. The baby has no idea this is happening. But deep inside their developing brain, a scorecard is being built. And the person who responds the most consistently, the most calmly, the most gently, that person starts to win. Not the person who is around the most. Not the person who tries the hardest. The person whose nervous system feels the safest. A study from Harvard University's Center on the Developing Child found something remarkable. When a caregiver consistently responds to a baby's signals, something called a serve-and-return interaction happens. The baby sends a signal, a cry, a look, a reach. The caregiver returns it with attention, touch, or voice. And every time this loop completes successfully, neural connections in the baby's brain physically strengthen. It is like a bridge being built, plank by plank, between the baby and that one person. And after thousands of these micro-interactions, the bridge becomes so strong that the baby's brain essentially labels that person as home. This is why a baby can be surrounded by 10 loving people and still cry for one. It is not about love. Everyone in that room might love the baby equally. It is about neural architecture. The baby's brain has literally been wired to feel safe with one specific person. And no amount of effort from anyone else can instantly replicate that wiring. It takes time. It takes thousands of those tiny moments. And the brain does not care about fairness. It cares about survival. Now here is something most people do not realize. This process starts far earlier than anyone expected. Research published in the journal Developmental Science showed that babies begin recognizing their primary caregiver's voice while still in the womb. By the 3rd trimester, a baby's heart rate actually changes when they hear their mother's voice compared to a stranger's voice. They are already forming a preference before they are even born. The voice they hear most often through the walls of the womb becomes their first anchor to the outside world. So when they are born and they hear that voice, their brain already has a foundation. A tiny head start that makes the bonding process faster with that person than with anyone else. But here is where it gets even stranger. It is not just about voice. It is not just about touch. It is about something scientists call neural synchrony. A study from Princeton University found that when a parent and baby interact face to face, their brain waves actually begin to synchronize. The electrical patterns in the parent's brain start to match the electrical patterns in the baby's brain. They are literally tuning into the same frequency. And this synchronization is strongest with the person the baby is most attached to. With other people, the synchronization is weaker, less coordinated, less aligned. The baby's brain can feel the difference, even though they cannot possibly understand it consciously. Think about what this means. A baby is not just choosing a favorite person because of habit or convenience. Their brain is literally scanning for the person whose neural rhythms match theirs most closely. It is like two radios finding the same station, and once they lock in, that connection becomes the baby's emotional home base. This is also why babies sometimes seem to reject a parent. It is one of the most painful experiences a parent can go through. You love your baby with everything you have. You feed them, you hold them, you sing to them, and yet they cry when you pick them up and reach for someone else. It feels personal. It feels like rejection, but it is not. It is not about love. It is not about preference in the way adults understand preference. It is about neural programming. The baby's brain has identified one person as the primary secure base, and in moments of stress or fear or discomfort, the brain overrides everything else and sends one clear signal. Go to the safe person. Go to home base. A study conducted at the University of Minnesota's Institute of Child Development tracked children from infancy into adulthood. What they found was extraordinary. The quality of a baby's attachment to their primary caregiver in the first year of life predicted their emotional regulation, their ability to form relationships, and even their stress response decades later. Babies who had a secure attachment, meaning their caregiver was consistent, responsive, and calm, grew into adults who could handle stress better, form healthier relationships, and regulate their emotions more effectively. And babies who had insecure attachment, meaning the caregiver was inconsistent, absent, or unpredictable, were more likely to struggle with anxiety, trust issues, and emotional instability later in life. This is not a small thing. This is not a cute baby phase. This is the foundation of a human being's entire emotional architecture, and it is being built in those first 12 to 18 months of life, mostly without anyone realizing it. Now here is something that might surprise you. The person a baby attaches to most is not always the mother. In many cultures and many families, the primary attachment figure is a grandmother, a father, an older sibling, or even a nanny. The baby does not care about biological relationships. The baby cares about one thing: who makes me feel safe? That is the only question the baby's brain is asking. And whoever answers that question most consistently wins the attachment. There was a fascinating case study published in the British Journal of Developmental Psychology that followed a group of babies raised in a kibbutz in Israel. In these communities, babies were cared for by trained caregivers during the day while parents worked. The researchers expected the babies to attach primarily to the caregivers who spent the most time with them, but that did not happen. Despite spending more waking hours with the communal caregivers, the majority of the babies still formed their strongest attachment to their parents. Why? Because when the parents were present, they were fully present. The quality of the interaction mattered far more than the quantity. A few hours of attentive, responsive, emotionally attuned parenting outweighed an entire day of competent but less emotionally connected care. This is one of the most important findings in developmental psychology. It is not about how much time you spend. It is about how present you are during that time. A parent who is physically there but emotionally distracted, scrolling through their phone, half listening, going through the motions, that parent is not building the same neural bridge as a parent who is fully engaged for even a short period. The baby's brain knows the difference. It always knows the difference. But here is the part that changes everything. Attachment is not permanent in the way most people think. The brain is plastic. It can change. It can heal. If a baby has an insecure attachment early on, that does not mean they are damaged forever. Research has shown that new relationships, new experiences, and especially therapy can rewire attachment patterns even in adulthood. The brain never stops being capable of forming new connections. It just gets harder the longer you wait. And this is why understanding attachment matters so much, not just for parents, for everyone. Because the way you were held as a baby, the way someone responded to your cries, the way someone looked at you when you were scared, all of that shaped the way you love, the way you trust, and the way you handle fear today. You are not just observing this information. You are a product of it. Every relationship you have ever been in, every time you felt safe with someone, every time you felt anxious when someone pulled away, every time you craved closeness or pushed it away, all of it traces back to those first months of life, to those thousands of tiny moments when your brain was deciding who was safe and who was not. And the incredible thing is that most of us will never remember any of it. Those moments are stored in a part of the brain that does not create conscious memories. They live in your body, in your nervous system, in the way your heart rate changes when someone you love walks into the room. So the next time you see a baby reach for one person and cry when someone else tries to hold them, know that you are watching something profound. You are watching the construction of a human being's emotional foundation. You are watching the brain build its first definition of love, and that definition, for better or for worse, will echo through every relationship the baby will ever have. The question is not why babies get attached to one person. The question is, what kind of attachment are we building? Because the answer to that question shapes everything. If this made you think about your own attachment patterns, you are not alone. Drop a comment below and tell me, who was your safe person growing up? And if you want to understand why babies do other things that seem random but are actually deeply meaningful, the next video will blow your mind. I will see you there.